Hey everyone. We are actually setting up for an event here, and I just wanted to take a quick moment and ask you a question. Where are the HTs? Exactly where are the HTs? And you'll know exactly who I'm speaking in reference to here in just a minute. I jotted down a few notes and didn't want another week to pass. I know it's been busy. I shared with you all that this year we're going to talk about growth, innovation, things that are going to advance you forward. We know how important the goals are. We know how important it is to have a vision. But I wanted to make sure that you all were extremely clear on some principles that old Harriet Tubman demonstrated. That's who the HTs are. Why don't we start off here? Let me ask you this. What's the first thing that you do every day when you wake up? Do you wake up, pick up your cell phone, check your email? Do you check social media? And then what do you do next? Do you get going in your routine? I'll tell you this, when you do that, your routine allows you to function out of habit. And so what happens is the body takes over the mind. And the mind, as we've shared before in past segments, is where the creative elements take place, your reticular activating system. So subconsciously, there are some things that you can do to change and ensure that your habits are aligned to things and where you want to be. See, if you think about where you want to be and you meditate and you focus on those things and you close out and cancel anything that's dictated to you that you see through social media, that you see on TV, that might be out of habit, that can set your tone. But why don't you change and start envisioning and imagining things where you want to be? You have control over your mind, but you have to practice this. So if you change your routine, you can change your mind. If you allow yourself to enter into a creative space, you can enter into a manner that will allow you to operate and move towards the things that you so desire. And it's something that you have to do every day. So one of the things about Miss HT, Harriet Tubman, that I jotted down, she was willing to go alone. You know this story. Harriet Tubman was willing to do something new, different. She knew that she was bound and wanted to have freedom. But in order to have that, those that were closest to her family and her husband, she really had to recognize the safest way to make that happen was to do it alone. And I'm sharing that principle with you today because there are some things that you have to do alone. I know it's comfortable to have others around you, to have a support system, but realize that you have to do it alone. The next thing that I listed out notating is that Harriet Tubman married something that resembled where she was going. Her husband was free, but she was still a slave. And so even though she married him free, was he really free? Because he stayed bound. The interesting thing was even though she left and she realized she had to do it alone and she married what she was going after, she came back to get him, but really he was still bound. And I'll tell you this, some of you all are hooked into situations where you're trying to do things or be around people that are just like you, sometimes different, or the thing that represents where you're trying to go is what you need to connect with to drive you, to motivate you to get to that level. Realize that this one principle that she was willing to do allowed her to get to the next level. Another thing is that she believed in her vision. Some of you all say things, but you don't believe it. You'll say it half stepping your way through, but you've got to believe what you are writing down and what you believe in. So if you believe in your vision, you can make it happen. And that's even biblical. Ye shall have it if you believe. And you can look that up for yourself. The fourth thing that I had written down is many of us know, and a lot of times it has been the minority, it has been the female, opposition will come. Harriet had opposition, but she was willing to face that opposition head on and press forward to get where it was that she was trying to go. If you have opposition, that's just a sign that you're on your way. Think about it. When you get into the gym and you start lifting weights, if the weights are heavier, that's going to build the muscle. So recognize that opposition will come, but it is going to make you stronger. Even myself, I've had opposition, the very ones that I was trying to lead, to save, to do things to help would speak negative. I've got a gentleman that no matter what, everything is going to be an issue, but folks are starting to realize that this one individual is trying to wreak havoc against me, but he's really showing himself. You remember, even in the Bible, the more Peter spoke about Paul, the more you learned about Peter. So at the end of the day, opposition is something that she faced. And if you're facing opposition, use that to get better and to advance yourself forward. Next, my fifth point is that size was not an issue. You remember they called her the little Moses. Moses represents something great, something that exalted a group, a mass of people across water, something that couldn't be done, but little was the actual description before Moses. So size is never an issue. Don't worry about what you don't have. Look at what you do. Don't worry about your lack. Focus in on what you do. The one thing that Harriet Tubman did, she took what she had and she won with it. And size never limited her. Because of her commitment, she was invited to special places. You'll see once you start progressing and moving towards your goal, as you get closer to your goal, you'll get invited into areas, into spaces that others may not realize. You cannot take everyone with you. The higher you go on an elevator, you'll see more people that get off. The further that you go in your career, not everyone gets that promotion. Over time, you'll see that maybe you've endured, maybe you've lasted certain things, but they have not. Next, number 7. She was not afraid to move out of her comfort zone in terms of her spiritual growth. She had a personal relationship with God where she couldn't see it. She could pray her way through. She could get in a space and hear guidance. And some of you all need to get into a space, into an area where you move out of your comfort zone into the unfamiliar. And the one thing that can do that is meditating, praying, having faith, hearing clarity. Don't go by what mom or dad said. And I'm not saying what they say isn't true, but I'm saying some things you've got to experience and hear God's voice for your assignment. The people who are relying on you need you to be clear and be willing to move out of your comfort zone into an area that's unfamiliar. 8th point, Harriet Tubman had favor. You have favor. Favor is not fair. Favor will cause you to get promotions, to advance forward, to have access. And some people will talk. Some people are going to negate. But you have favor. So in order to get to the next level, just realize she had to trust people that she had never heard of. The pastor was showing in front of the slave owner, remember her pastor, that he appeared as if he wanted slaves bound, but he knew the way that she needed in order to get there. And if it hadn't been for her father to tell her to trust someone who appeared to be untrustworthy, okay, it would have never happened. But she had favor, and she had favor with the least likely. So some of you all may have similar situations. If you're not sure, you may have a trusted source. If they tell you to go, if they tell you to do certain things, understand that that could be the favor for you to advance to the next level. Number 9, Harriet Tubman confronted her past. Some of you all are bound because you will never ever address the issue. Your past might be you. It might be the fact that you are keeping yourself stuck. I understand we all want to be the victim, and we've had things that have been done wrong with us, but you've got to confront your past and kiss it goodbye so that you can move forward and get on to the next level. Lastly, number 10, Harriet Tubman knew when to speak up and she knew when to be silent. So I'm going to leave this point with you. Know when to speak up, know when to be silent. And at the conclusion of this message today, I asked you, where are the HTs? What's your routine? Change your routine, fix your mind on positive things, surround yourself with positive people. Understand these points that I shared with you. This is Elise sharing thoughts from Elise. I'm living my best life, and I so hope that you're living yours. Have a wonderful, fantastic day.